Welcome to another episode of the Truth Podcast, where we rebuild lives one step at a time by shifting mindsets and helping people reach their goals. Today, I have with me none other than Rochester's own Bishop Kearney's coach for the girls team, Kevin Shepard. Kevin, thank you for being here today. I truly appreciate you.
No problem.
All right.
For having me.
I appreciate it. You know, ironically, I've known you for quite some time. I want to say over 30 years at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about 12, 13 years old.
You didn't have to do that. I was grown when he was 12 or 13, so what? Never mind. Anyway, he said 12 or 13 years
You
old.
got better.
Yeah.
You got better.
So I got to kid myself. You got me on that one. So with that being said, I met you, like you said, when you were like 12, 13 years old. You had just came to Rochester. Can you kind of give us a little background? Where you from and how'd you end up in Rochester?
So I was born in Rochester, and when I was 5, we relocated to Kentucky.
Okay.
I was in Kentucky. Well, I came back every summer. And that's actually how we met, because I started going to the Boys and Girls Club every summer.
Yeah.
And I actually moved here permanently my junior year of high school.
Okay. So where'd you end up going to high school when you got here?
I went to East.
Okay. Oh.
Come on, man. I know. Home of the champions. Everybody don't like it. It's okay.
Wow. I think we started off wrong already. and for those that are watching, as a joke, I played for Rush Henrietta. And at one point, those two were big rivalries. It's not as big as it was when I went.
Okay.
And then probably by the time you got to high school, it probably wasn't. Was you there when Bobby Bell or before Bobby Bell?
It was before Bobby Bell.
So before Brumfield and all of those guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I graduated in 96. Or I graduated in 97. I said 96 because that's the year we won the championship. So my bad.
Who was that against?
McCoy.
Okay, well, I don't care about them. So that that doesn't bother me. Anyhow, okay, so where'd you end up going to college after that?
I went to Temple.
Temple, all right. How'd you enjoy your time at Temple?
It was fun. I loved it. I mean, I couldn't play. I thought I was a star on the way out there, but once I got there and realized what a star looked like, I had to kind of reshape some things.
Yeah. But obviously, you took advantage of
absolutely
school and everything. What'd you end up getting your degree in?
My degree was in poli-sci and money marketing.
Okay, awesome. Poli-sci and money marketing. I really don't know what poli-sci was. That psych?
Political science.
Political, see there?
Yeah.
I ain't even know. My daughter been like that. Really? You didn't know? Okay. But I had to ask. It's better to ask, and so I would know.
Right.
Awesome. So you obviously come back to Rochester, and I guess my next question is, and I kind of know the answer to some of these questions, but I wanted to interview because I think all of it is fascinating. How you we went to a Syracuse game together.
Yeah.
Me, you, and my son. Matter of fact, my son is your assistant coach.
Oh, yeah.
Which is another full circle moment, because when he was like, I'm about to coach for Kevin Shepard, I said, do you know that I know him? And he was like, oh, no, he told me he know you. And I was like, no, I've known him since he was 12, 13 years old. And so it's amazing. Matter of fact, you and him have developed an amazing relationship.
Oh,
too.
yeah. Yeah, Rod has definitely become like my little brother.
Yeah, all he do is talk about, Coach said this, Coach said this, Kev said this. I said, man, you and Kevin are way more than just coaching with these girls. Y'all become great, like you said, like little brother, big brother. So amazing. So I guess my next question is, what inspired you to become the girls basketball coach at Bishop Kearney?
My wife. At the time, she was my fiance. She was a teacher at the school, and she was the coach. And she asked me to come help her out, and I had zero interest. I was like, girls basketball? Yeah, right. Like, I still wasn't convinced I wasn't going to the NBA, but I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
We've all been
And I started off as her assistant, and a couple years went by. We got married, and I got my first job as a head coach because I got the head coach pregnant.
Okay.
It's my wife.
Yeah,
so it was okay.
It definitely was okay. So, but it just how you got the job is just a little different. Well, you pregnant? I'll go ahead and take over. So wait a minute. So from that point on, how long have you been the actual head coach?
I've been the head coach for 16 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
16 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure it doesn't seem like 16 years.
No, it doesn't.
Because time just ends up flying.
Right.
So you get the program. Now, prior to you getting the program, had y'all won any sectional titles while your wife was the head coach?
No, we were just actually starting to build the program. Prior to that, they came close. They played in a bunch of championship games, but we had never, as a program, had never won a sectional championship before.
Okay, so you got the coach pregnant on purpose because you knew she needed to step down? I'm just playing. Wife, I'm just playing. So, but y'all got close. Y'all built the program together. Mm-hmm. And then 16 years, how many sectional titles have you won and how many state titles?
We won 8 sectional titles and 2 state championships.
All right. 2 state championships. Now, here's another question. Do you know where you rank in the state and in this area as far as girl coaches, as far as sectional titles and state titles?
I'm not sure. I know for sure there's one acting coach, Steve Willoughby at HFL, mm-hmm. who has 9 sectional titles. And on the girls' side, as far as 2 state championships, I'm not sure. I don't think anyone else won 2.
Okay, you probably don't even keep record of that kind of stuff anyway. Okay, so basically, you win 1 or 2 more titles. You right there. You. So with that being said, could you share some key strategies or coaching techniques that have contributed to your success and in winning multiple titles and state sectionals and state titles?
I mean, honestly, a lot of it was luck.
Mm-hmm.
It was luck and being blessed. I was blessed to have a bunch of talented girls come into the program. Mm-hmm. Some came as 7th graders, some came as sophomores, but there wasn't a lot of players that we had to actually improve as much as you would think. Like a lot of these girls just had a whole lot of talent. And our job is just to build a chemistry mm-hmm. where they work together. I think the biggest thing we've been able to do is to create a competitive situation that they can take from the court to the classroom. And so they're not just competing on the court, they're competing in the classroom. We love to see girls get Division I scholarships, go to college and play for free. But our number one goal is to prepare them for life after high school, to continue their education. And the biggest goal for me is for them to be able to do that for the least amount of money as possible, if not free.
And you know what's amazing about that? My son talks about it all the time. And he's like, Dad, one of the things that I notice is when you're a winner, you have a lot of opposition. He said, but what people don't know about Coach is that his girls are winning in the classroom. Yeah. And he started telling me people's grades and how they're on high honor roll and how some of them are graduating, in the honor society. He just I was like, you know what? You're right. Nobody talks about that, and I know it's on purpose, but nobody talks about that. And since I said I know it's on purpose, why do you believe they don't talk about it if we can go there a little bit?
Well, for one, just society as a whole, we always put athletics first, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. I don't think they want them to get the additional attention that anybody else would get. Mm-hmm. Like, we've been New York State academic team for multiple years. Mm-hmm. Everybody on the team is, if not on high honor roll, they're on honor roll. Mm-hmm. And just like you're competing for points, I averaged this much. Like, they know they need to be on honor roll. And that's not even our own rule. Like, the cool thing about girls is they actually don't want to stand out. So if you can create an atmosphere where everybody is at this level, mm-hmm. they're going to at least be at that level. Wow. Now, the ones that's special is going to go beyond that level. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to run into people that's going to be behind it because nobody wants to be the one that draws that attention.
So you're not even, you know how we went to school, especially, you went to East. And before I went to Rush, I went to Monroe. But It even happened at Rush where, 5 weeks into the season, we knew some guys wasn't going to be playing.
Right.
And so I noticed from just watching, I have personally never seen coming to a game, girls starting out playing for you and not playing 5 weeks later because they're not eligible.
Eligibility has never been an issue. Like that's a no-no. Like if you're missing a game, you're either sick or you're injured. It can't be because of something that happened in school or the classroom.
Nice. Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, so here's the thing. How many girls, I know that's probably asking a big ask over 16 years, counting also coaching with your wife, which would be another 4. So we're talking 20 years of coaching. How many girls have you been a part of them getting into Division I schools and getting full rides? Division II schools, whatever the case may be, as far as full
rides is 28.
28 young ladies who've gotten full rides to college.
Yeah.
Have all of those 28 graduated from college?
They're in the process. So
okay, because you got some young.
They are, yeah. I got a lot of current players right now that's in college right now. But they go on to college, and the grades stay the same. I like when they get to college because that's when you'll see all conference, all academic team, and they're always on that.
Nice. Now that I didn't know. So do you have, what about Division II, Division III? Because mostly every girl that comes out your program ends up playing somewhere. Yeah, and getting some kind of money, even if y'all help them get HEOP or something like EOP, some kind of scholarship or some kind of money. They're going to go to school. That's your goal. They're going to go to school. Have you any stories of girls who don't come from the environment that foster or is conducive to them performing and going to school and doing the things that they're doing? Like you have some very success stories where okay, this young lady came here, she comes from this background. Based on this, she shouldn't be making it. But look at what she's done. She's the first one in her family with a degree, or she's the first one to go to college.
Oh, yeah.
You have any stories?
Yeah, no, we got a couple of them. It's in 2022 when we won the state championship, it was maybe a minute to go in the game. And we actually only went 6 deep. We had a player get ejected. And we had 4 people on the court with 4 fouls. And
wow, in a state final.
And I had a state championship game, and we her name is Akun Awak. Akun is from the Sudan, and she's a soccer player. But she had great relationships. Some of her best friend, Kaya Good, was one of her best friends. Kaya's an excellent soccer player too. So she just wanted to be on the team. But she was like, "Coach, I'm not a basketball player." I was like, "It's cool." So I remember we're looking, I was like, all right, we got a minute to go. 4 of them got 4 or 5. Somebody's going to foul out. And you're going to have to go in. And I remember we was talking in the timeout, and she was giving them a pep talk like, hey, don't foul out because y'all don't want me out there. I'm not going to be the reason we don't win the championship. And but the funny thing about that is she's now at University of Virginia on a full ride. She's almost a 4.0 student. And it's purely academics. And it's quite a few in them. Marciana, she just graduated. I went to her grad party was last week. Marciana never played. She's been on the team for all 4 years. She got better every year, but she was like, hey, I like the atmosphere. This helps keep me focused. And she's actually going to Nazareth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm just amazed because these are the things that we're not hearing, and now I see why young ladies are trying to get to your school and play for you because it's so much bigger than just basketball. How many of these girls throughout your 16 years as head coach or just coaching in general come back and tell you things that you did for them that you didn't even know you were doing for them?
A lot, and it's funny because to me it creates some awkward moments. Like it's a surprise, but like just going to battle, like you don't understand that you're around the players a lot of times more than the parents are. Because they're at school for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then they're at practice for 2 hours after the fact. And the way our schedule is set up, we're generally never in Rochester. So we're on the road, we're traveling, there's hotel stays. Like you spend a lot of time with them. And for them, like you never pick up at it. I was the same way. Like I never liked my coaches until they were my ex-coaches.
Yeah.
And you go back and like you don't realize the sacrifice that goes into it, and they realize that after the fact.
Yeah.
And then it's always once you get to college, it's a different level. But I tell them all the time, it's like your high school coach is coaching you because he loves the game. He wants to give you this opportunity. Your college coach feeds their family based on wins and losses. So they're not going to give you as much. They're not going to give you a long rope. All right?
Yeah.
It's like you got to come in and do what they expect you to do.
Yeah.
But just over time, developing relationships with the players, but then you automatically develop the relationship with their families.
Yeah.
So it's just it's almost like a one big family.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you've heard that kind of, you said it's humbling or makes you like, thank you. But,
Right. It's like, so it's funny because when I first started, I was young.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, to me, was like a little sister.
Yeah.
But now as time has gone on, now they're at an age where they could be my kids.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking at them like my own kids.
Yeah.
And so I can signing days.
Yeah.
A lot of the girls be like, he's not just a coach, he's like a father figure. But it's kind of weird because your dad's right there. But I understand it now, but I was young too. Like I had to grow into this at the same time. I'm like, no, don't say father figure, your dad's right there. But I understand it now.
Yeah, I could see how that would be a little uncomfortable, like
right.
And hoping that I hope you're not offended by that or whatever the case may be. But it's amazing how, unbeknownst to us, we're mentors to people that we didn't necessarily set out to mentor them from a father's perspective, but like we're literally changing people's lives and creating discipline and all these structure. Because I always tell people sports create a lot of structure for people. And, I know it did it for me. And, even you being a player, I'm sure it did it for you. And it also just kind of helped bring your life together. Can you speak to that a little bit? Yeah.
I mean, that structure, I seen a saying the other day what it says, like, your habits really create what you do. It's like that structure is something from what you learn in sports. You can really apply that to anything. Like you got to work hard at it. You got to study at it. It's like basketball, there's practice, there's film session, and then you go do it. It's like a lot of times people that come to our games, they'll say, I don't say anything. It's like, he just sit there. It's like, for me, the game is like a test. The teacher's not talking during the test. That's like where I'm talking every day in practice. It's like, if you heard everything I said, when we get to this game, I shouldn't have to do much. But if I have to constantly call timeouts and bring you in and go over everything we just worked on a week prior to prepare for this game, then I didn't do that good of a job.
Wow.
So it was just that was just my approach to the game. So it's always funny because the girls even joke like, no, they always say, you should have called timeout. You just sit there. And it's like, they don't see what they don't see. It's like, what makes us good is what happens in the dark. Like when nobody else is looking, that's why we get the opportunities we get. It's not what we do in front of everybody else.
First of all, the game is like a test. Man, one of the things that's crazy is I've had so many kids that, and I'm just hearing this in my mind, that would say, I would like, man, I studied with you. How did you fail that test. And he's like, oh, when I get in the room, I have test anxiety. Well, if you play for Coach Shepard, he is going to kill test anxiety. Yeah. He's going to make sure when you're taking the test in life that you are totally equipped to pass, because I'm going to let you take what you've practiced and put it into a play or make it applicable. Like, dude, that's just amazing. And I tell you the truth, I hear the parents in the stand, look at him, he's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I don't get bothered by it. But initially, I'll tell you a couple of years ago, what I was thinking was like, he was not this quiet at the Boys and Girls Club.
Nah, it wasn't.
So people would think that you quiet, that you're like an introvert. And I know that's not you. But now you just brought clarity in a way that some people watching still may not understand. But you are preparing these girls for life.
Yeah, like in the beginning, when I first started, I was loud, screaming, had no voice for a whole season. And we wasn't winning no games. So I was like, I got to change my approach. Let me shut up a little bit. But it's really just, we can't do things the same way. It's like what we come from. I come from John Chaney. I come from Tarkanian. And our coaches were yellers, screamers, Coach Franklin. Like, you can't approach those kids the same way that we were approached 20 and 30 years ago. It's like, you can deliver the same message, but your delivery means everything to this generation. Yeah. It's like, the girls will tell you, like, he says some wild stuff, but he'll whisper it in your ear. He's not going to embarrass you in front of everybody else. Yeah. So you're going to get it. But long as you can receive it and it's not embarrassing you in front of anybody, they're going to go out and they're going to carry it out. Yeah. But no, it's like, I'm not as quiet as people think when they see it. The girls will tell you like, oh no, he's communicating. You can't hear it, but it's happening.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, let's be honest. This generation is way more sensitive than we were. And partly because you ain't have time to be sensitive. Like if you, I don't want to mention any coaches' names, but if you play for certain coaches and you wanted to get in the game, you had to have tough skin because they just weren't trying to hear it.
Yeah, but they have a reason to be more sensitive. When we played, it was just us, the coach, and who was there. Every game they play, the whole world is there because they have phones and social media. So if they're messing up, everybody sees it. If you're embarrassing them, everybody sees it. If we played under that same microscope, we would probably be the same as them. But we don't notice that. Like we're at an age where we don't even pay those phones any attention. But if we did the wrong thing in front of them phones, we would going forward.
That's true.
And that's their life now. Everything they do is on display for people that know them and people that don't know them.
Yeah. I still struggle with that because I still believe some of these kids are too sensitive. Like even I've seen where you've done where I've been doing private criticism, drop their heads, just kind of like fall apart. One young man told me, I'm just not used to anybody saying anything to me like you have. Right. And so I don't know how to process it. And is it coming from a good place? And I'm like, in my opinion, I'm not going to say nothing to you if I'm not trying to help you.
Right.
But that person is like, this particular person, I don't get this at home. So I'm like, what's going on here?
Right. No, though you can't. If you don't have the time to build them back up, don't take the time to tear them down.
I love it. Make sure that's a quote. That's a bar. That's a bar. Must be because you must have been a former rapper when you was 12, 13 years old. Say it one more time, please.
It's like if you don't have the time to build them back up, then don't take the time to tear them down. Because now what you're saying really, why did you say it? Yeah. Like you want them to just walk off with something negative? Like tell them why you said it. It's like, I'm mad at you because I expect more from you. I know what your capabilities are, and you're not living up to it right now. Like, Does it affect me? No. But going forward, it's going to affect you. And if I can show you now that I love you and I want the best for you because that's what's going to take you further, then they can accept that easier. It's like you have to show them. You can't just tell them. Like, you have to show them. It's like, no, I love you. I'm going to show you that I love you by correcting this. And you're going to understand that if you keep doing this the positive way, it's going to work out for you.
Yeah.
Like, none of the stuff I'm telling you is for me. It's for you.
Go to kingdomandwill.com. It's the ultimate destination for casual and stylish clothing that represents your love for the kingdom. I personally vouch for the exceptional quality and comfort of their apparel. That's why you'll see me wearing their shirts during my podcast episodes. So whether you're looking for everyday wear or want to make a statement, Kingdom and Will has got you covered. Don't forget to use the discount code The Truth for a fantastic 15% off your purchases. Join the kingdom today and embrace your style while representing the kingdom. That's kingdomandwill.com. You know what's crazy? I like that you said, I'm correcting you. A lot of people don't do well with correction.
Right.
And, I do this. I know, there's a scripture. I just got to put it in there. But it says, the rod and reproof is wisdom, or the rod and correction is wisdom. But a child left to himself is his mother's shame. Like, so even parents, we have to be careful. You said, I got to stop for a second. What made you go,
Well, I mean, you said a child left to itself as his mother's saying. That's kind of today's society.
Yeah. And it's because people, matter of fact, even sometimes, and not me as a parent, but I've dealt with parents and they feel like, well, how can I correct them? Because then this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And I'm like, you have to correct your child. Right. Matter of fact, if you have a vision for their life, you correct them. Like, if you expect your son, your daughter to be somewhere, you correct them. One scripture says, where there is no vision, the people perish, but happy is he who keeps the law. But then one translation says, where there is no revelation, people cast off restraints. When you don't have an expectation for your child to go somewhere, you don't set boundaries.
Right.
And that's really what correction is, setting boundaries. And I like what you said. If you're going to correct them and not be there to also build them up, and I might have misquoted it the way you said it, but that's the whole point. But correction is a must. It's the same thing as coach, like you said. We've practiced, and there's things I'm telling them that the crowd don't know.
Right.
When I sub a person out, like, I see you talking to kids, but I don't know if they think you just like, oh, tie your shoe, please. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like you said, I don't have to embarrass them, but I'm also correcting them. And then, matter of fact, the rod and reproof or correction is being used because they're gonna see them. They're gonna see some running in practice.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So even in sports, there's correction going on because my coach would be in hit the baseline, fellas.
Yep.
I was like, oh man,
we don't need balls today.
Yeah, pause. Did I just pause the coach? Oh my God! This is the influence. This is the influence of my sons.
Yep.
So obviously you've been around Rodney. I'm like, can you pause your father? Dad, you need correction. So while we joking, do your kids do that to you that you coach?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You be like,
yeah.
What happened?
It took me a while to even catch on. All of a sudden, now I know. Hey, you better think about what you just said a couple sentences ago. Like, oh, my bad.
They pausing the coach. Because, when we come from, we're not sitting there thinking, you know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
And you're right. They'll be like, hey, yo, what? You're like, what'd I say? What'd I say? But I told, listen, my sons and their friends, I'm like, just don't even come around.
Right.
Because I can't even have a conversation with y'all without getting paused all over. Or now the whole thing is they'll say, they were saying no Diddy for a quick second, but they was hitting me with the pause. I was wondering, do the girls pause the coach?
All
man?
the time.
Oh, my goodness. So they probably keep you laughing and you just...
Yep. Yeah, they keep you up on all the latest lingo.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's funny. So watch this. How many children you have?
I have 4.
Okay, and you've been married how long?
19 years.
Congratulations. I appreciate hearing that. Black man, holding this black family together, setting an example in the community. It's a blessing. So as a coach, how do you balance your role as a husband, father, and a working professional?
Whew. It's actually like one and the same. So now it is. And it's funny because I started off coaching girls. So my oldest is my son. So he always see me coaching girls. So when he was younger, to him, basketball was a girl sport.
Yeah.
So he wasn't as interested in it early on because anytime he's seen it, we was in the game where he's like, oh, okay, that's enough. Give me my tablet. so, but as it's gone on, so now like he grew up in the gym. All of them grew up in the gym. So like all of my sitters was my players. So It was just like one big family. Like all the players, they've always known my wife. She taught at the school for the longest time. So it was really just big family atmosphere.
Nice. So you also are a professional and work along with Rock Nation. What is your role at Rock Nation? And how do you balance that as well?
Easy. So in January of this year, I actually left Rock Nation. I was a basketball coordinator at Rock Nation, and my
sorry. Go back. How'd you get that job?
It started a long time ago. So in the summer, I've always coached boys, EYBL, and all of that happened simply because I coached Nas Carter. Really, Nas Carter is from Rochester. He graduated from Bishop Kearney. He went on to play at the University of Washington.
Yeah. And he's a club kid. I know Nas.
Yeah, he's a club kid, and he's Jay-Z's nephew.
Okay.
And it was funny because Jay-Z's always been my favorite artist. And I remember Nas saying that it was his uncle, and I just never believed it. I didn't pay no attention.
He's like, yeah, right.
His last name is Carter. I was like, I'll probably say that too.
Yeah.
And we had a game in L.A., and I remember he came over to me and was like, my uncle's going to come to the game. He's going to call you right before jump ball. I remember looking at him like, who's going to call me before jump? I'm not answering the phone. At that point, I don't even know who he's talking about.
Because like, you already had put the Jay-Z thing.
Yeah, that's already gone. And the phone rung. I answered it. I knew the voice. He's like, we're getting ready to come in. I was still dumbfounded. Hang up. And he just walked in the gym and walked right across the bench. Like, everybody was like we was all shocked.
I was just going to ask you that.
I was like, oh, okay, that's the uncle you. Oh, I was like, yeah, this is. I didn't think that was gonna happen at all.
Yeah,
and he's just like, afterwards, can you drop him off? Like, no problem. Met him once. It was cool. Couple years go by.
Well, he was asking you to drop Nas off to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Couple years go by. And Quentin Rose is at Temple, and he's being recruited. I coach Q too.
Yeah.
He's being recruited by Rock Nation. And I went to New York to meet with them because they wanted to talk about Q. And Q has a game there. They're playing in New York City. So his dad, his family goes up there to see him. And I go into the office to meet with Juan, and Jay's in the building. And he's like, oh, I remember you. And he explained it again, and it was just like, how would you like to do this? And I was like, just basketball full time? Absolutely. And he was like, I just formed a relationship with Puma, and I might have something for you over there. And I was like, all right, cool, let me know. A couple months went by, I got a call, and it's like, how would you like to go over to Puma and be a brand ambassador? I was like, I love that. From that point forward, we recruiting players.
No, just playing. But
from that point forward, we recruiting players, trying to get players to sign contracts to be represented by Puma as far as athletic apparel goes, basketball. Went from there to becoming a basketball coordinator at Rock. That was great. It's crazy. It's just, I've had a bunch of cool titles and great opportunities, and none of them were things that I was aiming for.
It sounds like that's a theme.
Yeah,
you didn't start out looking to be the head coach.
Nope.
Like everything just seems like you end up in the right place, and then
everything I've gotten was from helping somebody else. It's like it was never my target. That's not what I was going for. I was helping Nas at the time. Met Jay, great. I thought that's all it would be. Helping Q, met him again. And it's like from one player to the other, you get to Isaiah Stewart. Now you meet everybody. And like none of those things were, it was not, okay, now I'm gonna try to go here, I'm gonna try to go here. Everything happened from trying to help somebody you have a relationship with reach their dream.
You know, it's funny. One of the things that they talk about in marketing, and, you know, if you want to become successful, help other people become successful, and in turn, you'll become successful. But it's one thing to do it with the focus of, okay, I'll become successful. Well, when you do it because you just love to help people, because you're not making any money off of helping these kids.
No.
Like, and that's the one thing that kind of sickens me, because there's a lot of people exploiting kids for money. That's why I really don't even like AAU anymore. AAU now has just become a big money grab. They're not developing kids. I know this. I know people probably gonna be upset that I say that. They're not, and they're not developing kids. They're just taking people's money. And I don't have to be careful because I don't coach. Taking children's money, knowing these kids are not gonna go to the next place. But so in some cases, not all, it's become a big money grab and it's been diluted. These kids are not really growing and developing as players. You know, my son had a coach, you know, they did developmental stations. You know, every Monday they did developmental stations and watched film. And people don't know how important it is to actually watch film.
Right.
You know, it's one thing to try to correct a mistake. It's another thing to be able to literally show that person, whether it's on offense or defense, you could have created more space if you'd have did this. You know, you could have took away space if you did this. And I always tell my sons when they were growing up, basketball is real simple. Offense is about creating space. Defense is taking away space. And if you can create space, you're going to score better.
Right.
You know, and they'd be like, my son Rodney used to be like, what in the heck is he talking about? But a good friend of mine played in the NBA 18 years, Terry Cummins. That's how he broke the game down to him. He said, Rodney, offense is creating space, defense is taking away space. Yep. And if you can create space, you're going to score. And unless you're absolutely terrible. So, but that is amazing. So you just said in January, what happened in January? You left.
So now I actually, I have my own company. I've had it for a long time. And what I do is I develop programs for youth. And it's not really sports based, but we use sports as a way to pinpoint what the child's interest is. If you show me what you're interested in, I'll show you how to get paid doing it. And
I'm gonna turn your passion into a paycheck.
Yeah.
Man, that's dope. Just honestly, how hard was it for you to walk away?
It wasn't that hard. Once you realize, once you have self-confidence and you understand, okay, these people are choosing me for a reason, then you have to start choosing you. And if you choose you and you got people that depend on you, then you really don't have any other reason to not be successful, because the kids got to eat.
Say that one more time. I know you probably say it one more time.
Well, you just have to realize, why do these companies, why do these people keep choosing you? It's like, you need to see in yourself what other people see in you. And once you see that, you can really do whatever you want to. Once you have that self-confidence, I mean, a lot of people have confidence. A lot of times it's fake confidence.
Yep, false confidence.
Yeah.
Yep.
But once you realize, like, everybody has a purpose. To me, my basketball program, like, that's my ministry.
Mm-hmm. Man, I swear, I just literally just had shivers because you said so much in such a short space of time. And people don't realize what real confidence look like. Like you said, once you discover why these people keep choosing you, and in your case, you literally never pursued any of these opportunities. Right. And like, okay, why are these people choosing me? What is it about me that I'm missing, that I'm not seeing? And then once you see it, you have to choose you.
Right.
You have to, and then take your passion a bit further. You obviously are not, again, focusing on the paycheck as much as you're focused on the fact that I have to continue to give the gift that God has placed in me to people. And if I just do that and pursue my passion without any ulterior motives, all the other doors will open up that I need to have open, and I'll still feed my kids, still take care of my wife, still do all the things that I'm doing in the community. And that's, I wanted to have you on here because people don't even know your mindset. Like, you know, I know your mindset to a degree. I watch you grow up, and, you know, even when you first came back to Rochester at the Boys and Girls Club, you were always a voice of reason. You was always kind to everybody. You was cool with everybody. You know what I mean? And very mature for your age.
My accent was horrible. I was like, I better be cool and funny. They gonna drill me all day long.
I want to fight. You know, kids was quick to fight back then.
Absolutely.
You know, you'd be like, why are you fighting me? I don't like your accent. and they don't even know, for the most part, I'm from the Rock. Yeah, I'm from the Rock. Man, that is so, you've blessed me so much. I don't even care about this podcast. I'm thankful for what you just did for me. Man, I tell you, now I see too, like, I'm not trying to be funny, but the blessing for me is you have been reinforcing with my son all the things I've tried to tell him. I don't know if y'all had conversations.
All the time.
And I'm like, he'll come back to me and say, you know, Coach said this, and Shep said, he call you Shep. Shep said this. I'll be wanting to say, bro, I told you that. What happened? Because one thing I've told my kids too is never be intimidated by anybody. When you're in the room for a reason.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you need to know why you're there, and you need to be who you are. And so he'll come back and say, yeah, Shep said this, Shep said that. And my wife said this some years ago. Because she used to do that too. I don't know if you probably don't experience that, but my wife, I'd be like, blah, blah, blah. And then a couple months later, she'd be like, man, I was watching so-and-so, and they said, and I'd be like, I told you that. And she said, Rodney, stop focusing on the fact that you told me. That's ego.
Be happy that I got it.
There you go. And when she said that, I was like, okay. And then, you know, ego literally had to get out the way, because all that matters is if they got it. There's a scripture that says, one plant, another water, God gets the increase. Right. So it shouldn't matter to me where I'm at in the process. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I just thought that was beautiful. Right before we get out of here, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced as a coach, and how have you overcome them? We talked about you sitting and being quiet, but the biggest, give me a couple of the biggest challenges.
Just getting a certain group to buy in. Like you know, somebody is gonna be good, and I'm always trying to get them to get there earlier. I remember having Camille Wright, Mariana Freeman, and Sanaya Wilson. They came in as 7th graders, and Sanaya was our leading scorer from 7th grade till graduation, and she played on a team with 4 or 5 other D1 players. And she was the leading scorer as a 13-year-old.
Wow.
But with that great team, at the time, Mercy was tough. And we were young. I was starting 3 7th graders. And
On varsity.
And we lost to them in a championship 2 years in a row. And then as 9th graders, Mercy, that same team that beat us, now they were all seniors. And everybody knew, like, all right, after these girls graduate, it's probably going to be Carney's turn. Mm-hmm. And I was always telling them, I was like, we don't have to wait for them to graduate. Like, we got to take it now.
Yeah. And it's going to be sweeter.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like, yeah, and you get to get your revenge. Like, revenge ain't waiting until they graduate. Yeah. Now you can win. And senior year, their Mercies, that they had this good group, 3 players. Led by Katie Titus and Treva Breedlove. And we beat them in the championship game that 3rd year. And like that was a big deal because like year before we had lost to them in overtime after coming back. And to see them get that win at such a young age, like that was a big deal. To see them win it as freshmen.
And beat them seniors.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to forgive me, but I'm glad I wasn't there because I would have loved to see them cry. But because trust me, they probably had it in their mind, oh, we going to smack them. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That is amazing. So the biggest challenge was getting them to buy in.
Yeah, just to get them to believe that, like, no, you're good enough now. It's like, because a lot of people was telling them, like, y'all going to be fine. Once y'all become freshmen, y'all going to just win it out. And I was like, you don't have to wait. Like, you don't have to wait to win. Like,
you don't have to wait to win, especially if you take those losses as lessons.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, my goodness, you don't have to wait to win. You don't have to wait to win. Listen, we get to the end of this time. Oh my goodness. I got to ask you this. If you can narrow it down to 5 people, it could be a mixture. I was going to ask 5 men. Can you give me the name of 5 men, and then we'll do 5 women if you want to. Okay. 5 men who has had a major impact and influence on your life, and you can say that they're a direct result of the man I am today.
Men. First, I'll say my grandfather, Richard Ray. Then it'll be my dad, Kevin Shepard Sr. Yeah, my stepdad, Emmett Davey.
Jesus.
It's tough because I don't want to leave nobody out. They shouldn't be left out.
Well, why don't we just stop there? Because they can't argue those 3. They can't argue those 3. That's lineage. That's legacy. If you feel like you could throw 2 more in and somebody won't be mad, but if you feel like they're gonna be upset, you know.
I'm stay with them 3.
Okay. First of all, you didn't say no rapper. You ain't say no entertainer. You said your grandfather, your father, and your stepfather.
Yeah.
Bruh, that is amazing. Because the men that should have been present in your life were present.
Right.
And we know we don't see that very often. And I've asked different people this question. And this is the first time somebody named their grandfather, their father, and their stepfather. Like all of these people who are directly in your life every day had the biggest impact and influence on your life.
Oh, yeah.
You have any females?
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
That would be my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, my wife, and that 5th one could go to any of my aunts. But yeah, I've always have a huge influence from the women in my family. Like they lead with a heavy hand.
Wow. So again, you went right back to family, which really speaks to the whole importance of family. And I noticed the theme too with your team is you talked about it as a family. You talked about how they've even babysitted your children.
Oh, yeah.
You know, people coming back telling you you've been like a father. Like everything is a family. I see that with my son. Y'all pulled him in. It's like a family. When my wife passed away, right there, like a family.
Yeah.
Which, not trying to be funny, I told Rodney this. I said, Kevin is such a person that he is. He probably would have came if he never met you just because he's known me so long.
Yeah.
And I see why you have such a strong sense of family. So once somebody becomes a part of your circle, they're a part of your circle.
Right.
Okay. And I tell you, my son and you probably don't know this, but I'll tell you, and I'm going to try to say it and end it. You don't even know how you walked him through these last few months on the phone and encouraging him, because this has been a very difficult process for me and my children. Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, what's going on, Rob? I'm on the phone with Shep. I'm like, okay. And he would tell me, he said he don't even know how much he helped me. He talked about the girls and how they've uplifted him and helped him, like just through this process. And so as his father, I want to tell you, thank you for being a good big brother and a good friend to my son.
No problem.
Especially in a time where he really needed it. And I know you don't like anybody giving you any compliments, but you got to give people their flowers while you can.
Right.
And I just want you to know I appreciate it. I know our time is up, but I want to thank you again personally for being here.
No problem.
Thank you for when we reached out that you responded and said yes right away. I could go on. I have a ton of questions to ask, but maybe we'll save it for another time after y'all win the chip this year and win the stakes this year.
Hey, man.
So I'm going to put that out there.
I like that. I would love that.
Real quick, Asia and it's Clarissa, right?
Clarissa, yeah.
Clarissa. Them some dogs, man.
Oh, yeah, they tough. They tough.
For real. And you know we ain't calling no women out of disrespectful, but in a sports sense.
Yeah. That's a major compliment.
Before we end it, what are you expecting from them this year?
I mean, they're going to compete for Player of the Year. Before the season start, they're going to have their signing day. They're both going to accept full rides to a Division I institution. And they're going to both graduate on the National Honor Society, and they would have made it whether basketball was here or not. But for them to find their passion and use it to get what they want, they're special.
Wow. Coach Shep, love you. Appreciate you dearly. Thank you for being my guest today. And listen, this was another episode of the Truth Podcast. Remember, you should know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week on the next episode of the Truth Podcast.
You worry about what God has to say about you, how he feels about you, and and he says you're beautifully and wonderfully made, and whatever he created is good.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, where you've been.
Whatever he created is good.
So it doesn't matter, where
you can just read the first chapter of Genesis and that'll free you right there.
Yeah.
Whatever
he created. That's all right. Whatever he created is good. So it don't even matter if you've been to the deepest, darkest valley. You good.